Kinsey, number 11, out to Laurie, and once again Sunderland are going backwards and struggling all the time, as Summers scores with a header.
One footballer once wrote an entire chapter about football directors, then left every page completely blank. No words, no explanation, just silence. The chapter was called "The Average Director's Knowledge of Football." It wasn't a mistake. It was Len Shackleton's verdict on the people running football. Supporters loved him, defenders feared him, but football's powerful men never fully understood him. Long before tricks filled television, Len Shackleton was making crowds rise to their feet. He could embarrass defenders, delight thousands of supporters, and leave everyone talking long after the final whistle. They called him the Clown Prince. It sounded like a joke, but behind the nickname was one of England's most gifted footballers, a player with extraordinary vision, fearless confidence, and the courage to challenge football's biggest authorities. He became Britain's record transfer, scored against the reigning world champions, and thrilled packed stadiums wherever he played. Yet England gave him only 5 caps, and the honours his talent deserved never truly arrived. So why did one of football's greatest entertainers remain one of its most misunderstood legends? And why does one blank page still define his legacy today? This is the story of Len Shackleton, the clown prince who outplayed the best. Len Shackleton was born on 30 May 1922 in Bradford, Yorkshire. No one looked at the young boy and saw one of England's greatest entertainers. He wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the strongest, but he possessed something far rarer: imagination. While others played the obvious pass, Len searched for one nobody else could see. While others tried to beat a defender, he wanted to leave an entire crowd talking. His talent soon caught the attention of Arsenal. In 1938, as a teenager, he joined the London club Full of Hope, but the dream didn't last. Arsenal believed he was too small, too slight, not strong enough for top-flight football, so they let him go. It would become one of the biggest misjudgments of the era. Len returned to Bradford Park Avenue. Then history intervened. The outbreak of the Second World War brought league football to a halt. Like thousands of young men, he answered the country's call. He worked in aircraft radio production. Later, as a Bevin boy, he spent time in the coal mines while continuing to play wartime football whenever he could. Those years hardened his character, but they never changed the way he played. He still trusted imagination over caution, skill over strength, freedom over fear. When league football finally returned in 1946, professional clubs quickly realized what Arsenal had failed to see. This wasn't just another promising footballer. It was the beginning of a player who would fill stadiums, humiliate defenders, and earn a nickname that football would never forget. The Clown Prince had not yet arrived, but the genius already had. In October 1946, Newcastle United paid £13,000 to bring Len Shackleton to St James's Park. It didn't take long to discover what they had bought. On his league debut, Newcastle destroyed Newport County 13-0. Len Shackleton scored 6 of those goals. It remains one of the most astonishing debuts in English football history. Almost overnight, supporters knew they were watching someone different. He wasn't simply scoring goals. He was entertaining people. Every touch carried confidence. Every dribble invited excitement. Every defender faced the same problem. Nobody knew what Len would do next. Soon, he formed a brilliant partnership with Jackie Milburn. Milburn was the deadly finisher. Shackleton was the creator. Together, they became one of Newcastle's most exciting attacking combinations. Milburn later admitted he loved playing alongside Len because he expected the unexpected. Where other players saw the obvious pass, Shackleton saw opportunities nobody else imagined. Crowds came expecting goals. They left talking about Len, his tricks, his vision, his confidence. He could stop with the ball, wait for defenders to commit, then glide past them as if they weren't there. Football became theatre. Supporters weren't simply watching Newcastle United anymore. They were watching the Len Shackleton show. But genius often comes with independence. The same fearless personality that made supporters adore him didn't always impress the men running the club. Some forwards felt starved of service because Len often chose another dribble over the obvious pass. And before long, one of England's brightest stars was heading for an even bigger move. In February 1948, Sunderland signed Len Shackleton. The fee was £20,050, a new British transfer record. The expectations were enormous, but Len wasn't interested in pressure. He wanted to entertain. This was where football truly discovered the Clown Prince. Not because he mocked the game, because he played it differently. He dribbled when others passed. paused when others rushed, and always trusted his imagination. Defenders hated it. Supporters loved it. One famous story tells of Len stopping with the ball against Arsenal. He looked at his watch, then calmly carried on. Whether every detail happened exactly that way, the story survived for one reason. It sounded exactly like Len Shackleton. Another famous moment came in Holland. After beating almost the entire defence, he refused to score. Instead, he passed to a teammate. Later joking, now nobody could say he never passed. Former teammate Jackie Milburn loved playing beside him. He understood Len's football brain. The unexpected wasn't luck, it was his game. Crowds quickly realised that too. They weren't just watching Sunderland, they were watching Len. Every touch created excitement. Every run created anticipation. Every defender looked uncomfortable. Some teammates wanted the simple pass. Some critics called him too flashy. Len didn't change. Neither did the supporters. Week after week, they filled the stadium hoping to witness another piece of magic. And usually, the Clown Prince delivered. But the more supporters admired him, the more football's authorities questioned him. Len Shackleton's greatest battles didn't always happen on the pitch. Sometimes, they happened behind closed doors. Supporters saw a genius. Football's authorities saw a problem. In England, discipline came first. Individual flair came second. Len never accepted that. He believed football should entertain, not just win. His talent was impossible to ignore, but his personality divided opinion. Even after becoming Britain's record transfer, England selected him only 5 times. Many supporters couldn't understand it. Neither could many journalists. Manager Walter Winterbottom admired his ability, but he also believed Len needed to fit the team. Len saw football differently. He wanted freedom. The selectors wanted structure. One remark summed up their relationship. "We play at Wembley, not the London Palladium." It was aimed at Shackleton. The message was clear. England wanted efficiency. Len offered imagination. Then came 1 December 1954. England faced the reigning world champions, West Germany. It was Shackleton's chance to answer every doubt. England won 3-1. Len scored against the best team in the world. He had delivered on the biggest stage, yet nothing really changed. His England career quietly faded. Only 5 caps. For a player many believed deserved far more. It wasn't a lack of talent. It was a clash of ideas. Len refused to become predictable. Football's authorities preferred players they could control. That was never going to be Len Shackleton. And if the selectors disliked his football, the directors liked his opinions even less. Retirement never changed Len Shackleton. If anything, it made him even more outspoken. Even before retirement, he published his autobiography. It quickly became one of football's most talked about books. Not because of what he wrote, but because of what he didn't. One chapter carried the title, "The Average Director's Knowledge of Football." Turn the page, and there was nothing there. Completely blank. No words. No paragraphs. Just empty space. It was one of the boldest statements football had ever seen. Some people laughed. Others were furious. Len didn't care. He believed too many directors made decisions without truly understanding the game. The blank page became famous. So famous that people still talk about it today. But Len wasn't simply trying to be funny. He believed football needed to change. He criticized the maximum wage. He questioned the old contract system. He believed players deserved better, and he wasn't afraid to say it publicly. Many footballers thought the same. Very few were willing to say it. Len was. That honesty earned respect from some, but it also created more enemies. The Clown Prince had embarrassed defenders for years. Now, he was embarrassing football's most powerful men. And once again, Len Shackleton refused to back down. But standing by his principles came with a price. For all his brilliance, football never rewarded Len Shackleton the way many believed it should. He became Britain's record signing, filled stadiums, inspired generations. Yet the biggest honours never came. Sunderland came close. In 1950, they finished just 1 point behind Portsmouth. Later, FA Cup semi-finals came and went. But still, the trophy never arrived. His England career ended after only 5 caps. Many supporters felt it wasn't enough. Many still do. Then came another blow. Years of football had taken their toll. A persistent ankle injury grew worse. Playing became harder. The freedom that defined his game was slowly disappearing. In 1957, at just 35 years old, Len Shackleton retired from professional football. He left behind hundreds of unforgettable moments, but also a question that never truly disappeared. What more could he have achieved if football had embraced him? Instead of trying to change him, he wasn't remembered for medals or long lists of honours. He was remembered for something rarer, the feeling he gave people every time he stepped onto a football pitch. Because while trophies eventually gather dust, great memories never do. And Len Shackleton had created thousands of them. Walking away from football never meant walking away from the game. Len Shackleton remained exactly who he had always been: honest, sharp, and impossible to ignore. Long before retiring, he had already opened a barber's shop. Later, he became a respected football journalist. His opinions were still fearless. His humour never disappeared. Neither did his love for football. Away from the spotlight, he enjoyed a quieter life with his family. His son, Roger Shackleton, later said the nickname, the Clown Prince, often gave people the wrong impression. His father loved making people smile, but he was never a fool. Behind the humour was a brilliant football mind. As the years passed, supporters never forgot him. Old teammates still spoke about his imagination. Fans still shared stories of impossible dribbles and unforgettable afternoons. In 2000, Len suffered a heart attack. On 27 November 2000, he passed away at the age of 78. Football had lost one of its greatest entertainers, but it never lost his legacy. Because every generation still discovers the same truth. There was only one, Len Shackleton. Football has produced greater goal scorers, greater champions, and bigger trophy winners. But it has never produced another Len Shackleton. He made football entertaining, he made defenders nervous, and he made supporters believe anything was possible. Today, many younger fans may never have seen him play, but if your dad, your granddad, or an older Sunderland or Newcastle supporter ever talks about Len Shackleton, listen carefully, because they won't just remember the goals. They'll remember the excitement, the laughter, the impossible dribbles, and the footballer who could make an entire stadium rise from its seats. That is something statistics can never measure, and trophies can never replace. The Clown Prince may be gone, but his football still lives through the stories people continue to tell. If someone in your family remembers watching Len Shackleton, tell us what they said in the comments. We'd love to hear those memories. Subscribe, because football legends like Len Shackleton deserve to be remembered by every generation.